listening to Kevin and the Spleen.
No one's gonna ever love me.
1098.5 Radio QWX for Quick.
Bussin', no cap.
No cap.
Really smack you in the ass with flavor. There you go. This show is about depression, anxiety, PTSD, and chronic illness.
We going quick. We're trying to keep you on the path to the ride home on the evening time.
It's a fucking zoo.
Make it Quicks with the Quicks Radio.
White lives do not matter.
Hey, everybody, it's the Spleen coming at you live from the new Kevin Incorporated Studios, baby. That's right. Kevin shelled out the big bucks to get us away from the WKUK, the Quick. No, actually, that's the old network. I'm a bit in the past, baby, because we're on Quick with the Quicks. Well, we were until we went fucking solo because I got canceled. So we're coming to you live in the studio, baby. And if things aren't working right, we're just working out the kinks. And you know Kevin loves those kinks, baby. That's right. Been getting a late start today. It's not anyone's fault. I have time blindness. So you can just say that. And it's fine. And it's bad if anyone says, like, what are you talking about? I have time blindness. What about you, Kevin? What kind of blindness do you have?
I actually think sometimes I kind of legitimately have face blindness. I know Dan said he thinks he does too, where I just literally, like, sometimes until someone talks, I have no idea who they are. Then all of a sudden it just completely clicks to me. Like if I can't piece together things by like their height and hair and what they're wearing and stuff like that, sometimes I just literally don't know who they are. But I don't think I have it nearly as bad as what Dan says he does.
Yeah, I have that with stomachs. I cannot tell people apart based on looking at their stomachs, and it is a true issue in my life. I have motorboated the wrong woman. That's why, but you guys know about that. That's why I'm canceled.
All right. I don't know. You know, hypothetically, we could do a whole episode in that voice. You know, I could figure that out.
Do you think your voice would hold up for 75 minutes of that?
No, but I think I could do it for at least a good 20 to 30. My question is, like, what are the consequences? Like, I think if I did it for 30, it's like it might just destroy me somehow when I would never know, you know, until I did it. But it's true. We are recording from the new Kevin studio that Kevin bought. You know, we started to think that just got a little bit, you know, cramped doing it in my apartment. It's not set up. So why not, you know, build our own studio? You know, Kevin's been doing the Schraub home video stuff. So it's like we really want a home base. And we decided that the best place for that is the spare bedroom of my friend's house.
I go all out for you. I don't hold back, you know.
Yeah.
Money is no object for this show.
I just think it's impressive that you went behind my back to arrange my friend's spare bedroom. Not like behind my back in the negative way. It's just usually you would expect that to go through me somehow, you know. But I was happy, you know, the address, I was like, looks kind of familiar. And then I was like, wait a second, this is my friend's house.
I don't like to bother you. You know, like, I know you're a busy guy, and I figure it's easier to ask for forgiveness and for permission.
Yeah.
So I just went ahead with it.
The thing is, it's easy because I never forgive. So it's like, well, I know how this is going to go. I don't have to like question what's going to happen. Like, it's going to be a bunch of screaming and spleening.
And screaming and spleening. And this is why I don't apologize.
Yeah, exactly. But that's enough of our bullshit. Let's get into a whole different kind of bullshit. We got a guest for you guys, a real corker of the guest, who I definitely should have asked. I don't know if you wanted to be introduced. You got any notes on an introduction before I introduce you?
I mean, I'm a comic book artist. You know, do you want me to give my credits or what? How do you want to?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like usually when people are introduced, they want, you know, at least something. Maybe it's a specific credit, or maybe it's they don't want something to be mentioned. You know, I don't know. Usually, it's never happened to me, but usually people get kind of like particular about how they like being introduced. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm early enough in my comics career that, you know, it's not too much, but So I'm Vince Underwood. I'm a comic book artist, drawing a series, The Miracles, coming soon, and also the artist behind a couple of self-published things, a book called Page Turn and another book called Elk Mountain, which are a bit harder to find because Amazon sucks and destroyed Comixology, the digital comics platform. But
Amazon destroyed that?
Amazon owned it. They bought it some time ago, and then sometime in the last year, they just kind of dismantled it in a way that made it real shitty, and people stopped using it. And they removed basically all the self-published comics from it. It was a fun day to go on there and find out that my catalog had been removed. So
yeah, that sounds real fun. All
Yay,
right,
billionaires.
Let me take a run at this. He's your favorite comic book artist and mine. He has an upcoming book, The Miracles. I should have been writing stuff down. Upcoming book is The Miracles. You could pre-order it now. Where can you pre-order it now?
Anywhere they sell comic books, your local comic book shop. You can get it online through our publisher, CEX, which is Comics Experience.
You can pre-order from CEX, or as we prefer, your local comic book. Support small business, support your local comic stores. They're a dying breed. He has a storied past. He is a checkered past. Oh no, my microphone just changed. Could it have anything to do with what about that? No, wait, that was wrong. Is
that's better now.
Better? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take this from the top. My favorite freaking comic book artist. You know him, you love him. He's from, I feel like my microphone changed again, but I'm barreling through it. You know his work from, the one I forgot, Up Mountain. Was that what it was?
Yeah, that's another one.
Up Mountain, and the other one, as well as his upcoming work that I'm really excited about, The Miracles. Vince Underwood Art is his Twitter account name. And wasn't this a better introduction? Wasn't this such a good introduction?
That's not my Twitter account name, but it's close.
It's very close. It's so close. Maybe it'll even come up if you search that. Not these days. The Twitter search fucking.
It's one or the other. It's like Vince Underwood Art on Twitch, on Instagram, not on Twitter and Blue Sky. It's just my name, but yeah, you'll find me.
I meant Vince Underwood Art on Instagram. That's what I meant. And that's what I said, in fact. And if you heard it, that's on you. You heard it wrong. But hey,
what's funny is you could have gone with Twitch, which actually it is Vince Underwood Art, and where we actually spoke for the first time.
We speak all the time. We're constantly in communication, right? Isn't that true?
Yeah. Constantly. I can't shake you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like a sweater. Can you imagine shaking a sweater? Of course you can't. I don't know, Kevin. I appreciate you really going all out and spending all this money to get the studio up and running within the space of a week. But I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work long term. Something about it is making me really confused.
Well, I mean, I will point out too, I did just send you a brand new monitor, and then you're gone away from your desk this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, part of the problem was that the monitor was full of fleas.
Oh, okay.
Classic.
I don't know what the fuck's going on. Okay, Vince.
Are you just
I've been talking
out of your
on the podcast. Wait, what?
I was going to say, is it just being out of your element, just throwing your rhythm off, or?
No, I think really what it was is trying to log into Zoom and then having to decide whether I was going to log into Google Gmail and email myself the Zoom link, or if I was just going to just manually type it in. I don't know, something. No, you know what it really was? It was messing with this fucking mic stand. But hey, at least we got it right to the same spot it was at the beginning. But you guys don't know about that, so that doesn't make any sense to you. But what does make sense is our good friend Vince. Vince, how do you feel about narcissism? Are you a narcissist?
I think that on some level, I think anyone who is in the creative field is probably some kind of narcissist on some level, because I think the thing I always talk about when I'm talking to people is like there's this fine balance between self-deprecation, which can motivate you to improve, to be like, oh, this page sucks, I'm going to redraw it, or this panel's not as good as it can be, or I need to do better this book. But also the absolute insane belief that you can do something, like follow your dreams, like do the job you've been saying you want to do since you're 8 years old, takes a certain level of egomania, I think, to actually pursue that and think that I could do it. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't pursue anything like that. Like, obviously I fell into Hollywood stuff, and so I've been doing it, but it wasn't like I was like, man, I wrote this script that I'm so proud of, I must get into Hollywood for this script to be made. That wasn't really my path. And when I was in school, I really liked writing. I feel like if I had one skill that I felt that I was good at, it was writing. But it was like, I don't think I'm good enough at writing to do that. And so I just kind of wrote it off, which is another form of writing, if you think about it, as like a job career. And I was like, maybe I'll just do something in science. And at some point I was like, maybe I could do radio, because radio felt like it's kind of writing, but it's just different. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that like, not only like medically is narcissism like a spectrum, like everything is, it's like a spectrum of diagnosable criteria. Like you can have some criteria, not others, but also I think like human self-interest predisposes us to some kind of narcissism, and it's just a matter of degree, because how much do you put yourself in front of others? All of this to say, I don't think I'm a narcissist anymore. I listened to the latest episode of this narcissism podcast, and they broke down all of the different types of narcissism. Very interesting stuff. But I think like the thing about a vulnerable narcissist is it's not like they blame other people. It's more like nothing can ever be their fault, because they're being constantly victimized by everything from the kitchen table to, the government. And that seems like a pretty big reach from my neuroses, but I do think I have some behavioral narcissism pattern. But so speaking of like ego and stuff, what made you feel like you had the juice to like pursue art? Was it just like, I care about this so much that it's not even a question, I'm just going to do it, or what,
I could give you, so I'm gonna back this way up, right?
Please.
So when I was a kid, I started drawing all the time, and I had like, I'm not one who like really preaches about talent, right? Like I think talent is like maybe step one, like you have a natural affinity, but it means nothing compared to honing that into skill, right? But so I had like that beginnings, that natural affinity, right? And I was drawing, in elementary school, sitting drawing superheroes and Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters and all that stuff. And like I said, when I was like, I have like a thing from when I'm like 8 years old. That's like a printed little like third grade yearbook where I wrote, it's like, where are you going to be in the future? And I'm going to be drawing comic books. And about the time I was in the 7th grade, we were taking an art class, and I went up to the art teacher very excited and be like, I'm going to be an artist. I draw, like I'm going to be in your class, and this is going to be great. And I was showing her things I drew, and in the most ridiculous, like when I think back on it, because I also spent a good number of years in education, she looked at me and said, "You're not very good. You should stop." And I did. And it was crazy because no one who's in the 7th grade is good at anything.
Yeah.
Like, what a ridiculous thing to say. And so I stopped drawing, and I actually went into music, and I became a big old band nerd. And I ended up.
What was your band interest?
I was a trumpet player who became a tuba player. And I know, looking at my portly self, that seems so crazy that I would play the tuba of all things.
Yeah. Only big guys play the tuba, right? I mean, it is heavy, right? So I guess there's like, at least you need to heft it, but
yeah. Well, I've known some very small people who've played it too, but
sure. Yeah.
I went from that, and I started teaching music for a long time, teaching marching bands and doing that, and drum and bugle corps. And
What
art
age were you when you started teaching marching band? That's so
that was right out of high school. So
that strikes me as very weird, right? Did you think it was weird, or were you like, this is natural?
That's actually pretty normal, because it's kind of done more like coaching, right? So there's like a director who's in this classroom all day long, and 5 days a week, and then everything that's done after school, the extracurriculars like that, they hire people who are more specialized, who are more focused in these fields, and they start with just like kind of like techs who are just little helpers who you throw them like a couple $100 a month, and they start doing that. And then I just kept doing it till all of a sudden it's like, okay, now you're in charge, and now you have, at this school, you have a room, and you're going to come in like during this time during the day, and now you're going to be designing and writing these shows. And it just kept escalating, and it put art on the back burner because it was paying the bills, and art was crazy. It was just like, I can't do this. I'm not going to, I'm not good enough to do that. It was that part was missing.
What was the teacher that, what teacher was it? Like, was it a specific teacher, or like a 7th grade general teacher, or what?
It was an art teacher.
Oh,
we were doing,
okay, yeah. So you're like, oh, well, this is an art expert. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I signed up for the art class, and that was day one. And then
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I had done I played band stuff before that, but I was going to make that jump to follow my dream. And that was day one of art class. So I went back to music, and
it sucks.
Yeah, it really fucking sucks. Cause so, I was doing the music teaching thing and going through that. And simultaneously in my personal life, I was in a long-term relationship that was coming up on 10 years when I found out that my best friend and partner, like my design partner in the band thing, and the guy I taught with at multiple schools, and her have been sleeping around behind my back for a year and a half.
Jeez.
And so the career crumbled, the personal life crumbled. So I'm 29 going on 30 when that happened. And suddenly, when you've got a partnership and you're cohabitating with someone, you're paying the bills together. We had a car together, all these things. All of a sudden, it's all gone, right? And I can't afford this house. I can't do that. So at 30, I tuck my tail between my legs. Mom, can I stay here for a few months, like while I get things going? And so I'm standing there. I'm like, I'm basically 18 all over again, right? Like my career that I built for the last, decade and change isn't going so well. Personal life's falling apart.
Did you feel like that career wasn't salvageable at that point, or was it more your attitude towards it was like had changed with all this turmoil? It
was a little of both, because I was so because we had we had like teams. We had you have collaborators you prefer and people you bring with you, and it's like, hey, this school's interested in having us come out and do this. You want to come along? You want to come along? And there were suddenly just like rifts, right? Like people who were like, hey, that's fucked up what you did to Vince, and then other people that were like, well, I'm gonna still want to work here, and so it just became messy. I kept doing it, but I was doing it on that was a pretty rough time. So the idea of like going out and being like, because a big part of that job's cheerleading and encouraging and being like, you're doing a good thing and you're doing great and you do this, right? And building a positive environment where critique can be received positively and all that. And so when, I'm sitting at home going like, everything sucks. I hate the world. Everyone betrays me. Right. Like it just, teaching didn't feel right for a time. I did.
You should have had a podcast.
Yeah. So sitting in the kind of the ruins, as it were, I was like, you know what? Screw it. Ride or die. I'm going to pursue this thing that I should have been pursuing the whole time. And I just dove in like crazy. I kept teaching on the side because obviously, man's got to eat. But
and I'm told women do as well,
Yeah. That is true.
I can't confirm this.
But yeah, so I just dove into it like head first and went crazy. It was just like, it's either this or nothing is kind of what it felt like. And that's kind of my first comic. It's the self-published thing, Page Turn. And it's kind of about that period in my life and just kind of like dealing with depression and anxiety. And it's kind of just, the point of it really is like, well, why not just try? Why not just draw something for 10 minutes a day if it's even that? Because what the hell else are you going to do? And so that's kind of like, I don't know if I guess it's a hopeful attitude in some ways. It feels a little dark, but that was kind of just what happened. Was everything blew up. And so at 30, I was just like, you know what? No, I'm doing this. And yeah.
So how long did it take from moving in with your mom to like starting, not even like deciding, but starting the actual comic book, and then to actually finishing Page Turn, right? That was what it's called.
Yeah. So the basically for a couple months there, it was classic kind of like what you think of as depression, right? Like stuck in bed, like, all that stuff. And, I started kind of kicking around the idea, and my, one of my brothers, my youngest brother, got like a decent sized tax return or something and had some money coming in. And he was like, hey, I will loan you to buy like a new art tablet and kind of fund you, get you started. Just pay me back when you can, got that taken care of pretty quick, paying him back. And so within a few months, everything was kind of rolling, and I was experimenting because I work digitally now 100%. And that's when I started doing that too.
Yeah. So like you hadn't worked digitally before that, it sounds like, right?
Yeah. Cause it's kind of expensive to do. Right. Yeah. Like the one I have, I have this Wacom Cintiq tablet here. That's, it costs a pretty penny. And, but I'd always been been a nerd and loved computers and knew Photoshop and knew my way around that world. I for a time had a day job doing some graphic design for a couple of years. Right. And so it was just an environment I was comfortable in. And so suddenly when drawing and that environment merged, it was just like everything came to life. Mm-hmm. It just, I suddenly had all these tricks and tools in my tool belt that I didn't have before. And I understood how to make things happen. Plus you can just freely experiment, like when I was working with ink, it's like, hey, I'm going to try something. And it turns out bad. And it's like, well, there's 3 days of work gone.
That's, right? I think the best part about the digital part of art processes is you can draw a line and it ruins your artwork, but you can draw 70 lines within the space of 2 minutes digitally. And, you can not only erase and start over, but you can tweak the line, you can get the tool and start stretching it around, and absolutely. I think anytime I've done it, it just makes it so your effort feels so much less wasted, Yeah.
And I think that allows you to prioritize, more important things than, starting over, right? Like I can be like, oh, I can add this to it. I can do that to it because now I haven't wasted all my time,
mm-hmm.
with erasers. I got a Control Z.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was a couple of events happened very quickly, one after another. And
you were writing the first book?
So I hadn't started writing the first book
Got
yet.
it. Go. Okay. Continue.
So what happened was a buddy of mine kind of had a story idea. He pitched to me and we did some kind of sample pages. And I did those, and then we didn't really know what we were doing, how to pitch it or figure it out. And it wasn't working out. But, I had those pages. But I was still kind of down. I wasn't feeling really good. And I just one day, I don't know why, I did because Kevin Smith, his daughter's named Harley Quinn Smith. And I did a drawing of her to shamelessly get attention. I drew her as Harley Quinn. because I was like, I post this. Kevin Smith loves nobody more than Kevin Smith and his daughter. So if I draw a picture of his daughter as a Batman character, I'm going to win the internet for a day. And he did repost it, and it was getting like, I woke up and it was at like 15,000 likes on Instagram, and like blowing up. And I was just like, is it possible that people might slightly like what I do? And
validating experience for sure, especially when it's not like I drew it, I drew it and I had this intention and that worked out the way I intended.
Yeah. So off of that, I got this boost of confidence, and I sent those sample pages to an artist, Derek Robertson, who co-created The Boys. And I sent it to him and just kind of like, hey, what do you think? And he basically wrote me back about how bad it was, but he wrote like an essay with like, he took pieces of it, he sketched on top of it, was like, this is what's not working here, this is why the story beat doesn't read the way it's supposed to, look at this, and like included like photos with like certain ways shadows were working, and just wrote this huge thing. And I wrote back just thanking him, like praising him, because it was incredible, right? Like, this is I have never, taken an art class. I'm figuring it all out on my own. And here was this dude who I had so much respect for, is a big deal. And he took time out of his day to, rip me apart, but educate me. And I valued that so much. And I wrote him back and I was like, thank you. And then he was like, hey, check out these books. And we started an exchange. And so I redid those pages and I sent them back to him, and, these are a lot better. Keep it up. And somebody reached out to me and said, hey, this guy, David Bergantino, is starting a transmedia horror company. It's books, it's comics, it's movies, it's all this. And they're looking for someone to do a tie-in comic. So I send these corrected pages to this guy, and he's like, sweet, let's do it. So I drew a whole preview, like kind of prequel comic to a movie that never came out and never existed, but I got a paycheck. And it was the first time that happened for making comics. And, it was kind of a bummer when they were like, yeah, this is first, it's going to go out to executives. It's kind of a, like, as we're showing them what the movie's about and like kind of what we can do. And we'll release this comic beforehand. And, they sent me like the script for the movie. And part of me kind of thinks I possibly got taken advantage of, in that through my comic, I designed the creature for the movie. And then the comic never came out. So I'm wondering if I got like, it was a way to like.
I thought the movie didn't come out. Did the movie come out?
No, the movie didn't come out. The comic didn't come out.
Okay.
So at that point, they intended for it all to come out. But so I think I kind of did some backdoor design work.
Yeah.
For them, without like movie industry rates.
I mean, the thing is, like, it's interesting. I'm wondering like what the intention behind this media company was thinking, but like one of the thought process behind a comic book is you could do the comic book and that's the IP, and then you license the IP to the actual distributor or whatever. That way they don't, the person who's paying for it actually doesn't own it. You retain ownership. So like, on that end of it, if that's what they were thinking, it's like there's some value for that, but necessarily that would do design work on some end, but it's also possible they were like, and then we'll own it and not you, the artist, maybe they're like, it was like a really deep multi-layered fuckery that was always.
Yeah. Cause it was weird. Cause they gave me the comic script, and it was definitely a prequel, cause they also gave me the film script. Right. And the events of the prequel comic almost don't even come up in the movie. Like there's a scene, like a flashback in a diner, and in the background are the characters from the script. Mm-hmm. They sent me headshots of actors and stuff. Or like, you got to put these four having lunch in the background. And I was like, all right, works for me. But so that never came out. So in the aftermath of that, it had been proven to me at that point. I was like, well, I can do it. I can make a comic. I can get paid for it. I I was like, well, what do I have to say? What do I have to work on? And I was like, well, I'm just going to do this little short and about myself and explore what I'm going through. And it just kept expanding until it was a full-size issue. And I self-published that. And that was, it wasn't some, huge giant hit or anything. It's a self-published indie comic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what was cool was I found out that, it was the beginnings of an audience, like, because it was about themes of like depression and kind of picking yourself up and even putting in a little bit every day and everything I was kind of going through there. People would reach out and send me these deeply emotional emails and things talking about how it like touched them and connected with them, and they felt like they were seeing themselves. And that was crazy.
How did that make you feel?
It was surreal. It was absolutely surreal. And it's funny because, and this is an argument I have with my wife all the time, where I see some of the book as really dark and pessimistic. And I was getting these emails from people that were like, yeah, this got me to like get myself out of bed today and get going. And she tells me, she's like, oh, it's a super positive ending. And I was just like, it wasn't meant to be, but it made me happy that that's what people got instead, because I'd rather put that into the world than, isn't it all pointless, everyone?
Yeah. Well, I think even kind of like sitting in the tragedy, even if you don't necessarily intentionally like uplift out of that, I think it can be like, oh, I feel seen. This still kind of helps me reinterpret the situation and look at it from a different angle. And that itself can be very, liberating and helpful, even if it's not even, intentionally saccharine or whatever. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's and I honestly, it's where it kind of comes, like where I was talking about that duality before, right? Where on the one hand, I was, I got to put this out. People will read this. People will care what I have to say. And on the other, completely shocked that anyone, the first time I got an email from someone that said, I read your book, I was like, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Yeah. I mean, it is crazy. I don't know. It's weird the ways that people connect through any means, but also, such strange but that's the thing about art, is it connects people, and our emotions. I don't know. Well, do you want to talk a little bit about what Page Turn was about, like more specifically, or do you think that's spoilery?
I don't know how spoilery it is, but it's generally just like following myself through a day, being haunted by the voices of the past, like in a way, and kind of doing a thing that I think only comics can do as a medium, where like the whole time there's speech bubbles coming off the panel, there's a page where I'm literally just combing my hair, brushing my teeth, getting ready for the day, and a voice says, why bother? What are you going to do? Like, You're not going to get anything done. And so it kind of manifests those shitty voices in our heads.
Yeah.
Is kind of how it goes through. And it kind of builds more anxiously and more intensely throughout the book until there's kind of a literal page turn, a moment where the story kind of flips. And so that I won't get into, but
no, that sounds awesome. I want to check that out for sure.
Yeah, that is still available on my website, which is just vinceunderwood.com, through my shop. So, and it's like $2. So anybody who wants to check that out, I'll greatly appreciate that.
If you're listening to this, it'll be so easy. www.vinceunderwood.com. Click the button that says
shop.
No. Click the button that says, hello, my name is Spencer, and I would like to purchase the book Page Turn, please. I think is what the button is, right?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the button. It's got
check it out. Do it now. Stop listening to the podcast or the live stream and just go there. It's not, it's all good.
I don't know.
Kevin, go there. Navigate. No, Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so, but you've been working on a new thing. That's what you wanted to kind of
For sure
to plug more than the $2 one. Is that one is, I'm sure. But but that you've been working on for a while, right? How long have you been working on it for?
Oh man. Okay. So the process on that one, the creative team got together many years ago and started talking about it. And before even I was involved, it went through a couple different artists before it got to me, and everything kind of clicked together. So then we took a while to kind of, when are we going to do this? What are we going to do with it? Are we going to try to pitch it to a publisher? Are we going to self-publish it? Are we going to crowdfund it? And we finally, during the pandemic, decided that we were going to put it out ourselves and put it out as a whole graphic novel, a full-size graphic novel. And so that was the start of 2021, I think, so 21 or 22. That might be right. But it took about 9 months to complete and another 3 to 6 to distribute. And that was a run of about 1,000 copies through Kickstarter. And so then after that was done, we decided, well, let's try to get it a home, like a real home, and get it in the shops and get it out there and figure that out. And that's when we were approached by CEX a year ago. And they were like, we want to put this out. We want to, get this happening. And I was shocked to find out how slow the wheels of business and publishing can move. Because like I said, it was almost a year to the day between getting the contract terms to look over for the first time and the solicitation and announcement of the first issue was about a year. And so that happened back in June. So, and it's been a wild ride. Almost 2 days after I got the contract and found out the book was getting published, I also found out that the rental I was living in was getting sold and I wasn't going to have a home. So had to figure out how to buy a house in this economy while dealing with all of that. So,
jeez.
Yeah.
In this housing market, more.
Yeah. Yeah. We got lucky. The way I like to say it is I like Indiana Jones rolled under the door right before all the rates went crazy.
Oh yeah.
So
I wish I
just missed that. But yeah, so it's been a while. It's been a wild ride. And you were like on some level there for all of it, like watching your Twitch stream or watching that happens while I was working on it. It was, there's a
we don't have to beat around the bush. I colored most of the pages.
Yeah. That's that is true.
No, so you were the artist. Were you coloring? Were you inking? Is it like what is even the I think when we talked in the past, you talked about pages. So like, is a page a single page, or is a page like 5 passes on a page? Like, what is even that process?
So for me, because I work digitally, it's straight to ink. There's no pencil step. There's usually some rough sketching or whatever, but It goes right on in ink, and then it goes to a colorist who colors it, with the exception of, in this book, there's a comic within the comic. And that's done in a homage to Jack Kirby, who kind of invented like half the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff I did color myself because I wanted it to be very specifically evocative of 1960s comics. So I took care of that. But yeah, then it gets passed to a colorist, gets passed to a letterer, and then
do you bubble it, or does the letterer have bubbles? I guess you have to kind of format for the bubbles, right?
So I will make sure. So when you're doing this, you make sure you keep space, right? So if you're going to have 2 people talking and you put them right up to each other, right, you failed as a comic book artist, because there's nowhere for that letterer to put anything. Or you make sure that you've got like a third of the panel at the top clear if it's going to be a dialogue heavy scene. And then when things get more complicated, like there's a scene in the 4th issue of our book where people are literally walking through a white void and they're kind of spinning, or like they're free of like kind of gravity and surfaces, right? And so the lettering actually like kind of turns with everything. And so for that, you know, as I plot it as a visual, I am kind of going, this should kind of go here, this should kind of go here. But our letterer, Hassan Atsmain-Allahu, which I hope I got 100% right, is amazingly talented and is on a ton of books. He's doing I think he's doing Poison Ivy from DC right now.
Nice.
And a number of other things. That's his craft. He's brilliant at it. So as long as I leave him space, you know, sometimes things come in and I'm just like, that is not what I thought this was going to look like. And it's brilliant and it's amazing. And that's my favorite thing about collaboration, right? Is kind of sending it off and it comes back and it's just like, well, that's so much better than anything I could have imagined. It's super exciting.
Yeah, and it makes it feel so much more real that it's like, it's not just me shitting this out. It's like, I do this and then someone else does a whole different thing, but it's the same thing. Like we're both making this. It's not just coming out of my head, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, cause like, I don't know, cause people talk about like, you know, with like George Lucas in the prequels, right? That there was no one there to say no. Right. Mm-hmm. And when everyone at every step of the process, you know, we're a small team, you know, it's not like a Hollywood movie, but, you know, there's 4 of us in there doing it. Right. There's a lot of voices to say, no, it should be this, or I think it should be this, or I'm an expert in this. This is the way it should be. And I think it just makes everything better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like, I get so second guessy that just even talking to someone is like, it can be so validating, even if they're saying, no, you're wrong. It's like, well, at least someone's going to fucking tell me that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything you want to talk about the miracles, like in terms of like a pitch, what it's about, like any kind of thing you want to kind of
for sure whet
the audience's appetite?
Yeah. So it's a coming of age story. Our teen protagonist discovers that he's a huge comic book nerd. He's a big fan of this book, Major Voltage Adventures, which is the book within the book. Mm-hmm. And he discovers that he has superpowers, which is not something that happens in this world. It's very much, you know, the real world. And suddenly he's finding himself with strength and flight and all these things. And he kind of takes his powers for a spin the first night and is confronted by Major Voltage and his wife, the Phantom Lady, who are his favorite superheroes. They're just there in the sky with him. And he's just like, what the hell is this? And it's his mom and dad and so they've come from the comic book world into the real world. And that's kind of where we really kind of jump off from.
Yeah.
And
that sounds awesome. It
deals with Elliot, who goes by the superhero name Miracle, is also a young queer character. So our writer Joe Glass, he created a book called The Pride, which you can get from Dark Horse, which is an all LGBTQ superhero team. And Joe himself is, as a gay man, is always wanted to tell those stories and put those stories into comics, and which was something that really attracted me to the role, because I felt like, you know, these are stories we need more of, right? It's not my community, but if I can do anything to elevate that community and spread those kind of stories, like, I'm absolutely on board for that. And what was super great was when we had the initial conversation, when he and I were talking for the first time about what this book was, he was talking about how this comparison between secret identity, this idea of a superhero putting on a mask, hiding who they are for the purpose of protecting themselves. And then he was talking about his experiences as a young closeted man and tying those two together. And so I'm sitting there in my mid 30s. I've been thinking about superheroes my whole life. And here's someone who lived a different life experience and brought to me a new angle to the thing I have loved my whole life in one conversation. And I was just like, well, this matters then. This is super important. And this is a cool parallel and something to explore. And yeah, like, so we get into it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that sounds really cool. And it's, I don't know, it's interesting. I don't know what your second book was like or whatever, but to go from kind of doing more of a personal thing to something that's like more, it sounds like it kind of generated from outside of you and you came in and it was part of an additive, like added to the process. That's like a really interesting thing. Just in terms of like, I don't know, experience with the comics book industry or something. I don't know.
I mean, well, and that was Elk Mountain, the book before that I did with a writer, Jordan Clark, who his mother is Puerto Rican, and that book addressed a lot of the immigrant experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was about an immigrant superhero from South America, living in a small American town, like his Smallville, if you will. And so when that first happened, it was the same thing. I was just like so happy to be a part of, like my story, the story of people who look like and have my experience has been told so many times. I don't even want to read it anymore. Right. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't like, I'm over it. And so to have these people who came to me, and I was so lucky, and say, hey, I've got a new angle on this thing. I want to do something that you haven't seen before in a comic book. It's just, it was exciting. And I hope that my career continues to be full of books like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. This is a weird gear changing question. That's
sure.
To Kevin instead. But Kevin, do you feel like, I don't know that your life ever exploded like Vince was describing, but do you feel like you ever kind of switched gears and was like, I'm going to take a leap with like this idea that I think could work, in a similar way?
I mean, kind of. I mean, not necessarily like a specific idea, but like I went literally from living in farmland, Nebraska, to working at Midway Games overnight, and that was a humongous risk for me, because I was, spending every last penny I had to move, 1,000 miles away and things like that. And then later when I ended up quitting that and started my own company too, that was kind of a big jump for me of like, I'm going from this stability of a big company paying me and knowing that even if I kind of screw up, the paycheck's still coming next week, to not in the same way he did, but I took some personal risks, but not jumps like that.
Yeah. Did you have like much in the way of like business experience?
No, I just winged it pretty much.
Yeah,
I had no idea what I was doing.
That seems like really crazy, just because like I at least can see, even without, obviously art is so much more than just the art and the making of the art, because it's, it's commerce as well or whatever. But I can at least see someone going like, I would like to make a comic book, and just starting down that path. And as problems crop up, like get it. But like, to me, it seems like such a different animal to be like, I'm going to start a business, because it's like, what even is a business? Like I know what a drawing is. I've read comic books, but like, I couldn't really tell you like what makes a business, and that just like, I don't know. Is that something you really dealt with, Vince? Is like I now have to become like a business and not just an artist? Or were you having success just plugging into other more kind of, obviously the first book, it sounded like, you were looking for people to do it and stuff, and they bought based on the sample.
I consider myself very fortunate that my previous career was freelance. So I had experience from the time, like right out of high school, where I had to sit down with people and they were like, okay, what do you want to get paid for this? What's your rate? What are you going to be doing? And I was so bad at it at first, because I don't think anybody's really super comfortable with those conversations necessarily at first. Right. Especially like, I've kind of got a little bit of imposter syndrome. So it's kind of like, oh, whatever you'll give me,
Sure.
But, so by the time I had to kind of have my first conversation where somebody said, hey, what's your page rate? I was able to say, this is what it is. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of went into this thing without any sense of compromise. So I understood how to handle my own business end, how to read a contract, how to not get screwed over, and, how to take care of taxes, on a freelance job, which is an entirely different beast than just, your kind of regular taxes taken out of your check job.
And 1099s.
Yep.
Yeah. It gets like, you probably want to claim a lot more when you're doing your own shit than you might otherwise, because It's like you got to claw back the money.
Oh yeah. Like I did last week. I drove up and down California Central Valley and went into comic shops and met with owners and kind of was talking to them about the book. And, of course, I'm writing off every mile and every bit of food I ate and all that, because that's business. So, yeah, so I went into it with a good understanding of all of that. And, I learned more and more with each passing year. And I think, I've got a pretty good, handle on how to kind of present things and market things. Like, I've done sales jobs before. So, it wasn't like completely, out of my wheelhouse to go in there and pitch to people and talk to people and stuff. So,
yeah. Well, it's not taxing. God. I gotta go, you guys. Is soda. So dancing completely not to the music for the audience's perspective because of the time delay. Although, it's the new studio. Kevin sprang for the T1 internet connection. So, maybe it'll be faster than it's ever been. Maybe my dance will be right snap on. Who knows? But, in the shuffle to get the studio prepped so quickly, Kevin forgot to order the specialty Mountain Dews to the studio. So I don't have any soda, but do you guys have any soda?
I have a few things to try, but what do you want to do today? And what do you want to save for when you can try it with us?
Well, Vince, you only have one soda, right? Like a sane person.
Yeah.
And it took you 2 weeks to track down. I think that's why we had to keep pushing back your appearance. But you got, it looked like the I don't even know what it's called. Is it Guava Blast?
Baja Caribbean Splash.
It's Caribbean Splash.
Mm-hmm.
Is guava in the Caribbean? Like, I don't think of guava as being that island. And Kevin has left. I assume to go get it. We don't know if Kevin has that. Okay.
I have a can of it here.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You're the only one, Spencer.
Yeah, I managed to get the bottle, but it was an adventure.
Yeah, well, some of you, it's a work in progress. We're getting the studio up and running. Kevin can't always order everything. This is Kevin's fault.
Just for the people at home to know, Spencer literally told me today, by the way, I'm not doing the show at my place today. And I'm like, okay.
Well, first I was like, I'm not doing the show. And you're like, come on, you got to do the show. And I was like, well, I'm elsewhere. And you're like, fine, we could do it from else. No, I just, whatever. Who cares? Who cares about anything? I fucking hate myself, you guys. This sucks. What am I doing?
We all love you, Spencer.
Then that doesn't help. That's what sucks. Like that when Vince was talking about like, oh, I don't know, oh, I read your book and it's like, and you're like, oh, that's so crazy. You use the term surreal, but I asked you how you felt, Vince, and you didn't actually give me a feeling. Like, so, but like, how did it make you feel?
I mean, so it made me, the ones that were kind of emotional like that made me feel good. But a lot of times I talk a lot like you talk. And most of that gets reserved for my wife because I don't have a podcast every week.
Wife.
But like I wake up sometimes and I go, oh my God, my art's so bad. Why am I doing this? Oh, I should go be a banker or something. What am I doing? And, she tells me I'm an idiot to keep going and to shut up. And she's great like that. But, but yeah, I don't think, and I've been giving some thought because you keep saying like, oh, this is so bad, the show. And then people tell you like the show's so good. And you're just like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
They don't say it's so good. I don't think anyone said it's so good.
I've been in your chat where people on Twitch where people love it, but
I guess,
I think there's like kind of a disconnect between the idea of like, cause you talk about wanting a premise, right? And I don't think people understand what the difficulty is on you in not having a premise. Right.
It's not even a premise. I think it's more of a purpose. Like I think a premise can be a stand-in for a purpose. But that's the thing is like this week, people were actually giving me structural notes on ideas. And I really appreciate that. If you put that in the Reddit, thank you. But it's like, even that's like, this isn't really solving my problem because it doesn't give me the purpose that I want it to have, because it's just structure, you know, and I don't think I expressed that. So it's not their fault for interpreting that way. But anyway, you said it made you feel good. The vast majority of feedback I receive does not make me feel good. That's the thing. That's what's so weird, is that like things that I can look at and like go like, this should make me feel good, they simply don't. And I think in the past it was better, but it wasn't different. Like it still happened, just on a different percentage, you know. I don't know, but whatever.
But I don't think it makes me feel good in the way that like it's inflating me. It like, because in those examples in particular, right, somebody, you know, writes me and says, this connected with me and helped me get through my day and did this. And so I think that that's a good thing. And I feel like I put something good back into the world. It's not about like, those emails weren't, your book is so good, you're so good, you're so great. I think that would have made me feel really uncomfortable. But to say like, I read this thing and my day was better, and I'm going to face the world in front of me, is like, that can make me feel good, because it's like, oh, well, the world's a little bit of a better place today. And, you know, and I think part of that's also what I enjoyed about education, because all the time, you know, I'd have kids coming up to me with problems and stuff, and to be able to kind of guide them through that and see them achieve goals and do things. So it's less about, it makes me uncomfortable. It would make me, you know, at the end of the year, kids would write you letters and stuff and be like, you were such a great teacher and do this. And it's like,
I would have loved that.
It's cool, but it's also like, it's not about me. It's about them. Yeah,
no, I know. There's a lot of me that's like, I should have just been a teacher. Teaching is like a low paying job. And that's another reason, like I wrote it off for that reason. But I think I would have been really happy teaching probably. Because I like one of my favorite parts about assisting is you just do feel like I'm not going to say like I was making a difference, like working at a mission makes a difference or whatever, but it's like, I can see that I'm doing something for a person, and that makes me feel good, you know, and teaching is very of that. But the thing about you, Vince, it's really interesting. And also, Kevin actually shares this, is that you have a wife. So I think, that can that's a validation that you almost can't shake, you know, because that's a person that has said, I've bought you, like I've bought into you as a human being that has value that I would like to share in that value. And that's another thing we got to try the soda. So why don't you give this soda a sniff?
Before I give that soda a sip though, that's on some level true of your friends, of like your fans. Like, yeah, it's not the commitment of like, I'm going to stay with you, you know, until we're both dead. But I think on some level that kind of that you are receiving that validation that people like being around you and like talking to you.
I disagree. I think I'm a symbol. Like, I think being a public figure, you're not yourself, and you don't like, it's parasocial, you know. But even one of my friends are just like our fans, kind of on some level. Go ahead.
No, I mean, you answered my question.
The thing is, it sucks. It sucks to listen to. It sucks to complain about. It sucks to feel. None of it's good, you know. But you know what is good is soda. Hit the theme again. Oh boy. Okay. Caribbean Splash. Now, is guava from the Caribbean? Oh, what were you going to say, Vince?
I was going to say, so this is a full sugar soda. I haven't had one of these in, I think, 10 years.
Okay.
So if I go into some sort of diabetic shock on air, I guess that'd be entertaining and exciting in some level. But okay, it's got a good smell.
I'd say exciting more, and you're giving it a taste.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. Vince says it's good. Yep. Kevin is giving it a sniff. What are you smelling, Kevin?
Yeah, no, it's very tropical fruity. Like I would believe that, I know there's not, but I would believe there is guava juice in this from the smell.
For
like
sure.
it's a very authentic. It's not overly sweet smelling. It's not very artificial. Like this smells not like Mountain Dew at all. This is more.
Yeah, and even for being like a full sugar Mountain Dew, it's not overly sweet.
Yeah, right.
But it is sweet, right? It's not like, Mountain Dew's really tangy, and it's not like there's no tanginess to it, but I'd say it's more sweet than tangy, right? And also to me, it almost, and this is probably just color, but like to me, it does have a bit of watermelony-ness to it. I wouldn't say it's like a watermelon soda, but it kind of, there's a bit of watermelon in it to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't pick up that this is a Mountain Dew. I would say this is probably, if I had to guess just based off of flavor, I would say this is like a Fanta or something,
Yeah.
100%.
I don't think it really has like the dew that usually they even say in the flavor description. They'll say like with a black dew with a blast of whatever. Like I don't even think it tastes like dew with a blank. I think it tastes like not dew, which is not bad.
This is drinkable. Really, like on a really hot day on some ice, this would be fantastic, I think.
Yeah, that's to me, it hits a lot like the Major Melon, where it's like a hot kind of refreshment kind of situation, where I don't think the passion fruit one was very refreshing in the same way. I think it was nice. It had this kind of purpley grapey quality a little bit, but yeah, it wasn't as refreshing. And that was also a bit more tangy. Whereas this is just kind of like a nice tropical sweetness, I would say,
Yeah, we're saving this probably for next week, but me and Spencer are going to try this New Zealand exclusive called Mountain Dew Passion Fruit Frenzy, which is supposed to be even better. Like the reviews I've read of this are just that it's absolutely amazing. So I'm really looking forward to trying that next time.
Yeah. So like I had this whole plan in mind where we tried the passion fruit before with, who was that? That was a different guest. Fuck it. Who cares? It was Nolan, I think. And then we're going to try the guava. And then what I want to do is I want to mix the passion fruit and the guava together, just because why not? Who cares? And then we could also do a side by side of the two passion fruits to see how those taste. And it'll be an experience. It'll be the exact circumstance where we do the first two and I'm like, it's kind of, this doesn't have legs. We should try and do something else, but that was like a whole kind of, I mean, that could be a 4-part series, if you think about it. Really in-depth stuff. And, isn't it, I don't know, aren't I so great that I could talk through the flavors of a dew I didn't even have with me, but it sounded like I did, it sounded, I would have been a lot more the micro if I was actually tasting it on the pod, but hey, we'll do that later, I guess. But I don't know, man. Well, the thing, Vince, is it is a Mountain Dew and the caffeine is there. So I would caution you. I don't know what time zone are you in? Are you allowed to say?
I'm on the West Coast with you.
The time zone police are going to get you for revealing it. But yeah, so even like I would say I had a full bottle of the guava Mountain Dew at like 2 p.m. And that was too much. I mean,
don't get me wrong. I just drink the zeros.
Oh,
like
okay.
it's just, I just don't have the. Yeah, you got me addicted to Major Melon. Like you were like doing a stream and you were talking about it, and I literally put the stream on my phone, got in the car, went to like 3 different locations because I was like, he keeps talking about this Major Melon. I got to try this Major Melon, and yeah, that was the first of many.
I wonder, would you think I mean, obviously it's weird to kind of compare sugar to non-sugar, but what do you think about like the side by side between the Major Melon and the Splash?
Because part of the reason I drink the Dew Zero is because it is still pretty sweet in the zeros. Yeah. But no, like I'm surprised. I kind of half expected this to go into my mouth and me to be like, like the sweetest thing I've ever tasted in my life. But it was good. But I prefer the melon.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Check out the Miracles and check out Major Melon Zero and not the Caribbean Splash. Oh boy. Kevin had an interaction with an AI. I think that might need a bit more time to really dig into, huh?
Yeah, I think we probably need to save that for next time.
Well, what else? I got so much. Okay, we talked about Jonah Hill. We talked about narcissism. Last week I talked about the writer, the actor strike, SAG strike, and one of the things I mentioned was the free ad supported television, and it's also known as FAST. It's the kind of stuff that's freebie. Is this? You don't need to pay money for freebie. I don't think you need to pay money for Pluto TV. Although maybe you do. I can't remember. I think you don't. But so this is a model that's getting bigger. And I meant to say last week that the thing about free ad supported television is it's a different classification of new media. So we had old media that had old media contracts. Then new media came along to skirt all the minimums for old media. And so because that was getting so fucked, we started going to the new media minimums, which were woefully inadequate, but at least they existed. Whereas before it's like literally nothing. You didn't have to pay anything. You didn't have to pay a lot of things. It's like SAG minimums. Even if you aren't in SAG minimums really set a lot of price floors. So a lot of non-union people can still get, SAG scale, I think it's called, or whatever, without being in SAG. And so like, without that, it's like you're really just paying someone $20 and like a can of beer or something to do a multiple day shoot or something. And so those base minimums changing helped, but like they basically were like, well, let's just do everything as new media and only have to pay these peanuts. And the thing is, as far as I know, in our negotiations, we don't have specific carve outs for free ad supported television. There's old media and there's new media, and most of these negotiations are getting new media rates to get more in line with old media. But I believe like the reason they started inventing free ad supported television was to create a new category that is also not covered by guild contracts. And so it's a very weird thing where we're arguing over the new media when they've already pulled this new media trick that they're, as far as I know, just getting away with. So it could be all these negotiations will end. We won't get anything dealt with on free ad supported television. We'll get all the new media up, and then there won't be new media contracts anymore. There will just be free ad supported television contracts, which will be the new Wild West, just like old new media was. It gets kind of confusing to talk about this verbally, huh? But they're just fucking us. They're fucking us no matter how you look at it. There's no way. It's just like, the thing is, it's so crazy. It's hard to even talk about because people are like, that cannot be true. And it's like, no, this is what's happening. It's really bad, but okay. I guess that's our show, right, Kevin?
Yeah, we're out of time.
Well, sometimes there's other shows that are also out of time, aren't there, Kevin?
There are.
How does that work out?
Well, it's loose, but I generally give people 2 to 3 minutes of buffer. So
and isn't that interesting, Kevin? No, whatever. So what's coming next, Kevin?
Coming up next is Apocalypse Then's Video Apocalypse, which is a collection of these strange and unusual music videos, followed by real life sci-fi, followed by Rob Schraub's Cyberpunk Megazone tonight.
Is that a new one?
It is not this time.
Oof.
Yeah. But
sorry.
Check out ShrubHomeVideo.com on Sundays, and who knows, you might catch something new too.
You might catch something incredibly illegal.
Occasionally.
Yeah. But no, you don't. It's not. It's perfectly legal and everything's good. And I'm happy. And I'm also married, it turns out. So, hey, everybody wins. What about you, Vince? Check out The Miracles as well as VinceUnderwood.com to check out his $2 comic about depression that's swept the nation and connected many. I don't have a number figure on that, but I'm going to definitely go check that out after the show. What else you got to plug?
Yeah, I just really want, if anyone can go out there and pre-order The Miracles from a local comic book shop, it'd be huge for us. Even one person in a shop shows the shop that people are interested in, they'll put more on the shelf. Would be great. Like you said, VinceUnderwood.com. It's Vince Underwood on Twitter, Vince Underwood Art on Instagram. It's like some variation of that on Blue Sky, all of that. So give me a follow, and I got link trees with all the relevant links and all of that. So
And the thing is, it's not even an order. It's a pre-order. So like, don't even worry. Just do it. It'll be fine. Like, you don't even have to, just get it in now.
Yeah. Double size first issue.
Process.
Double size first issue. It's only $6. And then half as much from there on to the 4 issues total.
And that's just the price of a single Starbucks. But that's our show. Don't give me money. Don't look at me. Stop looking at me. We like to end the show the same way we do as every time, every week. So until don't look at me. Don't look at me.